The film begins with the exorcism of a young woman named Hannah, who is restrained to a bed in a dimly lit church attic. Present are a pair of priests and her father, and the exorcism escalates rapidly. One priest splashes holy water on the struggling Hannah while the other fervently recites passages from the Bible, causing Hannah to scream in agony. Her father sits on the bed, desperately trying to reach out to her, encouraging her to fight the possession. It seems momentarily successful, but ultimately, it fails. Hannah, harnessing demonic powers, hurls one of the priests across the room, impaling him with a sharp spike through his forehead. She proceeds to lift the other priest, beginning to strangle him. At this point, her father decides to take drastic action and suffocates his daughter with a nearby pillow. A fly lands on Hannah's hand, causing it to twitch slightly. 3 months later, the story then shifts to our main character, Megan Reed, in the middle of an intense workout, relentlessly pummeling a punching bag. She suddenly stops, gazing blankly at the bag, which hints at the emotional turmoil she's experiencing. We see her staring at a photograph of herself as a police officer, alongside what seems to have been her partner. The scene transitions to Megan standing outside Boston Metro Hospital, appearing as though she's planning something secretive. In reality, Megan is there to meet her friend, Lisa, who has arranged a job for her at the hospital. The subsequent scenes provide background information on Megan and her new position as she interviews and tours the hospital with her prospective boss, Dr. Lewis. It becomes clear that Megan is no longer a police officer due to some undisclosed issues that led to her departure. She discovers that the job she's applying for is an overnight role in the morgue, and the fact that the last 3 employees in that role quit within the last 6 months raises concerns. Megan easily secures the job during a straightforward interview with Dr. Lewis, who merely shows her how to operate the equipment and informs her that she starts the following day. Her new workspace comprises most of the hospital's basement, accessible only with a security card, and is equipped with motion sensor lights. Dr. Lewis emphasizes that she must not leave the designated area. The narrative then shifts to Megan engaging in an intense run while Hannah's body is being examined on an autopsy table. Megan's first night on the job begins with a meeting with security, Ernie, including Dave, who somewhat awkwardly introduces himself. Later, while Megan is working on data entry in her booth, the lights go out due to the motion sensors. She steps out of her booth and waves her hands to reactivate the lights. An alarm sounds loudly, and an electronic voice informs her that there is activity at the intake bay. Megan discovers 2 paramedics delivering a body while ominous hallway lights flicker. Megan completes the intake procedures, including photographing the body and taking fingerprints, and enters the data into the police database. A jump scare ensues when Dave startles her by appearing from behind one of the morgue lockers, leading to Megan's sharp reaction. Dave genuinely apologizes for startling her. Megan then returns to her booth and starts assembling a rubber band ball. In a subsequent scene, the rubber band ball has grown larger, signifying the passage of time within the same night, setting the stage for eerie events. Megan leaves the restroom and, while walking down the hallway, encounters a man with his back turned to her. She calls out to him, only to discover that he's a hallucination. Flashes of a traumatic flashback in a red hue provide glimpses of the incident. Megan returns to her booth and contemplates taking some pills but ultimately decides against it. A flashback shows Megan attending an addiction support group where she reveals her partner's tragic death in a shootout, a traumatic event that led to her developing an addiction to alcohol and pills. In the flashback, another police officer, Andrew, who is later revealed to be her ex-boyfriend, consoles her as paramedics take her partner's body away. In the present, Andrew retrieves some of his belongings from Megan's place, indicating that her addictions pushed him away, prompting him to move out. That night, while Megan is at work, she receives an alert for activity at the intake bay but doesn't see an ambulance. A stranger, trying to enter through the back door in regular clothes, attempts to gain access, claiming he forgot his ID. Megan, with reasonable suspicion, refuses to allow the hooded stranger inside the building. Moments later, a paramedic named Randy arrives at the intake bay, seeking Megan's assistance in unloading a body since he's alone. Initially hesitant due to the rules, Megan is eventually convinced to break the rules and assist Randy. Predictably, as they remove the body from the ambulance, the hooded stranger sneaks into the hospital through the open door. The partially burned body that Randy is delivering turns out to be Hannah, but Hannah has undergone severe mutilation since the earlier exorcism scene. Randy informs Megan that the police discovered Hannah in the process of being slashed by her killer. She had also been poisoned and had her head smashed in, quite different from the suffocation death depicted in the initial exorcism. Machines malfunction as Megan attempts to fingerprint and photograph Hannah's body. With no other option, she tries to place Hannah's body in a morgue locker, but the sound of glass items shattering alerts her. Megan accidentally cuts herself on a shard, quickly places Hannah in a locker, and tends to her wound. As she wraps her cut, the locker containing Hannah opens, an eerie incident that Megan initially dismisses. She then logs into the police database using Andrew's credentials and notices a discrepancy between the photo in Hannah's ID and her current appearance. Megan retrieves Hannah's body to double-check her appearance. Hannah's body has one brown and one blue eye, unlike the brown eyes in her ID photo. Megan shoos away a fly near her blue eye. Suddenly, a multitude of flies swarm out of Hannah's body, causing Megan to jump back in shock. Megan initially attempts to flee but soon realizes it was a hallucination. Returning to her booth, she hears mysterious sounds in the empty hallway. Investigating further, she finds that Hannah's body has vanished. Back in the hallway, Megan witnesses her body being dragged away and chases after it. She is attacked by the earlier stranger, who brandishes a knife. Megan manages to fend him off and seize his weapon. But when she turns around, he has disappeared. Leaving Hannah's body in the corridor, Megan rushes back to her booth and calls security. Returning to the spot where Hannah's body was left, she discovers that it has gone missing once more. Strange sounds emanate from the room with the incinerator, prompting Megan to intervene and prevent the stranger from attempting to incinerate Hannah's body. Megan engages in a physical confrontation with the man, who regains his knife. Dave and Ernie arrive to save Megan, but not before Dave sustains a slash on his arm. As the police arrive to apprehend the stranger, it is revealed that he is Hannah's father. Megan then attempts to place Hannah back into the morgue locker, but her body jerks. While inspecting the body, she receives a phone call from Andrew. With her back turned, Hannah's body jerks again in an unmistakably unsettling manner. Megan takes a closer look at the body, and Hannah's mouth appears to open, as if taking a breath, causing Megan to panic and slam her back against the locker. She rushes out of the room and is met by Lisa, who tries to convince her to go home. Megan informs Lisa about Hannah's apparent breathing, but Lisa dismisses it as a natural occurrence when air is expelled from a body, which calms Megan's nerves. Later, Andrew pays Megan a visit upstairs, accusing her of taking a bottle of Xanax that he found among his belongings. Megan vehemently denies the allegation, which is actually the bottle of pills shown in her bag earlier in the film. Megan then requests that Andrew run Hannah's fingerprints at the police station since her equipment malfunctioned earlier. Meanwhile, in the morgue, Hannah's locker opens once again. Dave is in the hallway playing with the rubber band ball and fails to notice something passing by in the distance. Investigating the source of strange noises, he opens Hannah's locker, which heeds a nope response. To his detriment, he sticks his head inside the locker, allowing two unseen forces to grab and lift him. The sounds of bones breaking resonate as he is dragged across the ceiling and dropped into Hannah's locker, followed by a demonic growl and Dave's screams that suddenly cease with a final bone-breaking sound. Megan returns to the morgue but misses the grim scene, calling out for Dave in vain. She then heads to the bathroom. While in a stall, she hears the bathroom door open and the hand dryer starts up. Believing it's Dave, she calls out to him, only to stop when the rubber band ball rolls into her stall. Peeking under the stall door, she finds no one in the adjacent stall but is shocked when Hannah's burnt arm reaches out and grabs the rubber band ball. Megan checks the other stalls and leaves the bathroom, dismissing the experience as another hallucination. She then receives a call from Andrew, who informs her that he ran Hannah's prints and discovered that they belonged to someone who died 3 months ago. However, he attributes this to a glitch in the system. Megan performs a non-legally authorized search online and comes across an article detailing Hannah's death and a suspected demonic possession. Instead of leaving the morgue, she returns to Hannah's body and notices that the significant gash on Hannah's side has mysteriously healed. She approaches the security desk, requesting access to the camera footage from the hallway. Security guard Ernie provides her with a manual on how to review the footage. While examining the footage, she is shocked to witness what appears to be Hannah's body crawling through the hallway. In distress, Megan almost resorts to taking Xanax but manages to resist the urge. She shows the footage to Lisa, who dismisses it as a shadow and attributes Megan's stress-induced hallucinations to a coping mechanism. Lisa finds the Xanax bottle, further indicating her trust in Megan, but warns her about seeing things that aren't there as a response to stress. Angrily, Lisa leaves for the staircase to have a cigarette but is interrupted when blood droplets fall onto her hand. Looking up, she sees what appears to be Dave several flights above her. Lisa ascends the staircase and discovers the lifeless body of Dave leaning against a wall. She screams in horror as Hannah, very much alive, emerges from the shadows. Lisa flees to the rooftop, with Hannah in pursuit, leaving her with no escape. Hannah, at the opposite end of the roof, employs her demonic powers to telepathically strangle Lisa. As Hannah's bones crack, so do Lisa's, resulting in a simultaneous neck-snapping demise. Back at the intake bay, Randy returns, and Megan decides to confide in him about the strange occurrences. She shows him Hannah's body, and notices that the gaping wound on her side has disappeared, although Randy insists there must be a rational explanation for it. Randy opens up about his past struggles with alcohol and personal transformation prompted by his son's arrival. As Megan converses with Randy, parts of Hannah's body visibly regenerate. Randy, surprisingly, departs the scene unharmed, while Megan contacts Andrew and confesses to having Xanax in her possession. As she's on the phone, Hannah, seemingly calmly, crawls into the elevator. At the intake bay, Randy prepares to leave but is abruptly halted by a loud thud. He exits his vehicle to investigate, eventually hearing strange sounds and choosing to follow them. Meanwhile, Megan is engrossed in reviewing camera footage and fails to notice Hannah crawling into the elevator during her conversation with Andrew, and the eerie realization dawns upon her that Hannah is nearby. Rushing to the intake bay, she arrives just in time to witness Randy's lifeless body. Hannah makes it appear as if his head was crushed by an ambulance. Megan is suddenly interrupted by an urgent call from Andrew, who relays the alarming news that Hannah's dad has managed to escape police custody and may be heading towards the morgue. Before Megan can react, Hannah's father seizes her at gunpoint, forcibly leading her into the morgue. Together, they retrieve Hannah's miraculously healed body, and Megan's declaration of belief in his innocence prompts him to lower his gun. Curiously, he asks why hasn't Hannah killed her. Some clarity emerges as Hannah's father explains that Hannah was grappling with depression and anxiety, making her vulnerable to demonic possession. Once possessed, her eye changed to a deep blue, signifying the demon's mark. The two make their way to the incinerator with Hannah's body, but events quickly take a chaotic turn. Just as they are about to place Hannah's body into the incinerator, Hannah suddenly attacks her father, flinging him aside, and is on the brink of killing Megan. But her father intervenes, stepping between them. Hannah seizes him and hurls him into the incinerator. Terrified, Megan flees the room and rushes to the elevator, while Hannah pursues her at a slow pace. As Andrew reached the intake bay, he discovered Randy's lifeless body along with Megan's misplaced phone. Without hesitation, he promptly summoned backup and ventured further into the building. Inside, Megan succumbed to a panic attack, collapsing just as Hannah drew near. To everyone's surprise, Hannah chose not to harm Megan. Instead, she discreetly moved her away upon hearing Andrew's approaching footsteps. Megan later regained consciousness within the morgue's lockers, where she was met with the chilling sight of Dave and Lisa's lifeless forms. Determined to escape, she forcefully kicked open the locker door. The commotion attracted the attention of both Andrew and Ernie. However, before Megan could issue a warning, the blaring alarm seized their attention, and the trio watched in terror as Hannah crept along the ceiling. Ernie made a desperate sprint for the door, but Hannah thwarted his efforts with her telepathic abilities. Andrew and Megan hurried to the opposite end of the corridor. They pivoted just in time to witness Hannah mercilessly end Ernie's life. Andrew reached for his firearm, only to be telekinetically suspended by Hannah as Megan looked on in horror. In a quick and daring move, Megan seized Andrew's weapon and unleashed a barrage of bullets on Hannah, ultimately ending her life. Megan directed Andrew to the elevator for assistance and labored to transport Hannah's remains to the incinerator. As she struggled to slide Hannah's lifeless form into the incinerator, an unexpected twist occurred. Hannah revived and attempted to pull Megan into the inferno with her, but Megan valiantly repelled her attacker and sealed the hatch. Some time later, we find Megan in various scenes, running vigorously, boxing with intensity, and standing in the shower. As she gazes into the mirror, her hair conveniently drapes over one of her eyes. A fly lands on the mirror's surface, and Megan swiftly eliminates the pest. And that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Comment down below what movies do you like us to recap next. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.